My name is Mona, and I'm 18 years old. While some might label me as an introvert, I don't mind that description. It simply reflects who I am. Large gatherings and noisy environments have never been my forte, and I often find it puzzling when people express surprise at my preference for the company of my dogs over that of humans. To me, it's entirely logical. Dogs offer unconditional love without judgment, embracing me for my quiet nature and unique quirks, which is something I deeply value. I reside with my parents in a quaint little house on the outskirts of town. It's a humble two-story dwelling, not extravagant by any means, but it's home. The walls are painted a soft faded yellow, and the wooden floors creak with every step, adding to the character of this old house that has seen better days. My parents purchased it when they first tied the knot, and it holds a tapestry of memories, both joyful and sorrowful. My room, however, is my sanctuary, a personal haven where I can retreat from the chaos that often envelops our home. It's the one place I can escape to when the noise of my parents' frequent and intense arguments becomes overwhelming. Their fights are not just minor disagreements, they escalate into shouting matches that can stretch on for hours, leaving a heavy tension that lingers in the air like an impending storm. In contrast, my room is a refuge where I find solace with my two dogs, Jordy and Lucifer. Jordy is a big, goofy golden retriever, perpetually wagging his tail and always eager for a cuddle, while Lucifer, a small, scrappy terrier, is bursting with personality and spirit. They have become my lifeline, providing companionship and a listening ear when the world feels too heavy. I've never been particularly adept at conversing with my peers at school, but with my dogs I can share my thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. I have always found solace in the serene atmosphere of the library, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of the cafeteria. My circle of friends is small, and even they often struggle to grasp the depths of my thoughts and feelings. There exists a unique kind of solitude that accompanies being an introvert, and I sometimes ponder whether this is a phase I will eventually outgrow. Yet truthfully, I have grown comfortable in my own company with my dogs, Jordy and Lucifer. I rarely experience true loneliness, however. This past summer was an unexpected departure from my usual routine. The weather was idyllic, with the sun shining brightly, but the tension at home was palpable. My parents were once again embroiled in conflict, though I couldn't pinpoint the cause of their latest disagreement. As was typical, my father retreated to the garage to brood, while my mother sought refuge in her room, leaving me to navigate the day with only the companionship of my dogs. This was the rhythm of my life, a familiar pattern that played out day after day. One day, my parents made the decision to step out, and while I can't recall their exact destination, I suspect they were attempting to salvage the remnants of their relationship. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, I found myself alone in the house, enveloped in a serene silence that replaced the usual cacophony of arguments, doctor slams, and uncomfortable pauses. Instead of retreating to my room, I felt an unexpected urge to embrace the freedom of the day and do something daring. The idea of throwing a party sparked in my mind a notion that seemed absurd for an introvert like me, yet the stillness around me ignited a sense of spontaneity I hadn't felt in ages. I reached out to a few friends from school, keeping it small and manageable, as I wanted to avoid the chaos of a large gathering with limited resources for food and drinks. I focused on creating a lively atmosphere with music and some colorful lights. My dogs joyfully darted around, relishing the company, and as the evening unfolded I gradually began to feel the energy of the gathering. It wasn't exactly my usual scene, but I was determined to enjoy myself and embrace this rare moment of connection. I had never been the center of attention at social gatherings, and the overwhelming confidence radiating from those around me left me feeling uncertain about how to act. As I attempted to ease into the atmosphere, a sense of claustrophobia began to creep in, making me acutely aware of my discomfort. The vibrant music thumped louder, and the laughter and banter of the crowd only amplified my feelings of isolation. I found myself retreating to a corner, nervously gripping my drink and contemplating how much longer I would have to endure this evening. Just when I thought it couldn't get any more challenging, someone initiated a game of truth or dare, and predictably, I was the one who got dared. The challenge was thrown at me so suddenly that I barely had a moment to process it. The person who proposed the dare wore a playful smirk, clearly eager to see if I would back down. "Dare Mona to let your dogs hit her," they said, gesturing toward Jordy and Lucifer, who were joyfully frolicking in the living room with the other guests. I found myself momentarily paralyzed, struggling to grasp the absurdity of the dare. It was so unexpected and bizarre that my mind couldn't catch up. A hush fell over the room as all eyes turned to me. Anticipating my reaction, my gaze darted between Jordy and Lucifer, who remained blissfully ignorant of the tension surrounding me. They were just dogs, pure, loving and innocent, unaware of the strange predicament I faced. The thought of involving them in such a ridiculous dare felt fundamentally wrong. It struck me as an intrusion on the bond we shared. Jordy and Lucifer were not mere props for entertainment or participants in a twisted game. They were my companions, my solace, and the idea of subjecting them to this odd challenge felt like a betrayal of the trust and affection we had built together. I cast a glance at the individual who had issued the challenge, and without uttering a single word, I firmly shook my head. The atmosphere in the room lingered in a brief silence before laughter erupted as others brushed it off as mere jest. I could sense the warmth rising in my cheeks, yet I stood my ground resolutely, unwilling to succumb to pressure for something that felt fundamentally wrong, regardless of how insignificant it appeared to them. The remainder of the evening became a haze. Guests flowed in and out, the music ended, and eventually they departed one by one. I found myself tidying up the remnants of the night in solitude, grappling with a peculiar blend of relief and disappointment. The gathering had not unfolded as I had envisioned. It fell short of the expectations I had harbored. When the house was filled with anticipation, I went back to my room where Jordy and Lucifer were waiting for me. I closed the door behind me and collapsed on the bed, letting out a deep, deep sigh. The dogs jumped up beside me, settling down on either side, their warm bodies pressing against mine. I ran my fingers through Jordy's soft fur and scratched Lucifer behind the ears. That's when I realized something. It was Jordy's long red tool. It was so hard that I could tell he was on heat. For a moment I wasn't thinking, and I was probably still drunk and very curious. I gently slid off my night pants and licked my hand. I then passed it down to moisturize my cookie, and after this, I got on all fours. I then pulled Jordy till he was on my back, and instinctively he mounted me, and the next thing I felt was a sharp rode in my cookie. Dog rode me so hard and rough from the back, as if I was one of its species, and the saddest part is that I enjoyed it. It finally came in me and I could feel its cold, slimy dripping all over me. At this point, I would think of the consequences later. Lucifer didn't hesitate. The moment Jordy finished, he equally mounted me and started thrusting away. He almost entered my back door, but I gently guided his tool to the right. I can't stop thinking about it. That moment, I felt so dirty that I went and showered. When I lost control, how did I let myself get to this point? It feels like my brain is in a fog, like I wasn't even in my body when it happened. The guilt is suffocating. I should have known better. I should have just slept the moment things felt wrong, but I didn't, and now here I am alone in my room with Jordy and Lucifer lying by my feet, oblivious to what I've done. They trust me and I've betrayed that trust in the worst way possible. My heart aches. My hands shake when I think about it. How could I let myself hurt the ones I love most? I never meant to cross that line. I never meant to feel this disgusted with myself. I want to apologize to them, but I can't. How do I make things right when I've done something so unforgivable? I can't erase it, no matter how badly I wish I Could the shame eat at me? And I don't know how to move forward from here. How could I ever look at myself the same again? Thanks for joining us on this epic adventure. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We have more exciting stories coming your way also. Drop a comment below. We love hearing your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.